Fred Hoiberg, man, I think the guy has like 19 phones going at this point. Every time I turn around, there's like a picture on X of him on the phone talking to somebody. Nebraska added Air Force transfer Will Cooper, committed to the Huskers yesterday. Omaha kid from Omaha. All right, averaged 11 points on 40% three-point shooting over the final month of the season. Let's see. Cale Jacobson, speaking of people that are returning, last week's star in Vegas, is returning to Nebraska next season. And Juwan Howard, who was the Crown Tournament MVP, actually said Cale Jacobson, in his mind, was the tournament MVP when he did a press conference the other day as well. Nebraska also added St. Thomas's Kendall Blue. All right. Nebraska has received their fifth portal commitment as St. Thomas guard Kendall Blue says he is in. The junior averaged 12.3 points a game, 4.4 rebounds, 2.4 assists over 34 games while shooting 41.7% from beyond the arc. So two guys who shoot over 40% from three-point range. All right. He also started every single game last year for St. Thomas. So you start to look at our roster and how it's shaping out for next year. Rink Mast is coming back. Connor Essegian said he's coming back. Sam Hoiberg will be back. Jamarcus Lawrence has said he's coming back. Coming back. He went away, and now he's coming back to Nebraska. All right. Ugnias Juravicius, or Oogie, is coming here. All-MAC performer. Price Sanford. Thank you, Iowa's coming. All right. Other guys on the roster. Cale Jacobson. Let me see. Justin Boyles. Braden Frager. Quentin Himes. I'm missing one. I'm looking at the name. I don't know how to say this. Burke.
Oh, Baker Buchton, Joe.
Thank you. Good Lord. Thank you. I hate it when people mispronounce my name, so thank you for helping me out with that. People do it all the time, though. There's no T in my name. It's not Carriker. It's Carriker. Jeez. Anyways, I digress. You look at the guys coming back. You look at who we've added, and all of a sudden you're like, we might be like halfway decent next year. You were kind of a Debbie Downer the other day on Nebraska basketball. And I just kept saying how when I thought of Nebraska basketball at the end of the season, I was like, oh, God, oh, God. And then I was like, all right, we got something to look forward to next year. There is more additions and more confirmed people coming back since the last show we did on Tuesday. Like, is it crazy for me to think? I mean, we got two guys yesterday. All right, when you look at Kendall Blue, Will Cooper, who can shoot over 40% from beyond the arc. Connor Essegian is going to be a year better. Hopefully a little bit more well-rounded and consistent in scoring. Rick Mast, gigantic presence inside. Is it crazy for me to think we might actually be better next year than we were this year?
I don't think that's crazy. I think it's gonna be fun. I guess it's gonna feel like 2023 again with Rink Mast and Jamarcus Lawrence out there.
Yes.
But no, I mean I think that I keep going back to I don't think you got a Bryce Williams in this group, which is fair. You don't have it. He's only 20 point per game scorer in Nebraska history. So they went out and I think they're putting more of a team together, more so than going to be hanging on Bryce Williams or Juwan Gary to get it done every night. But they've got we've asked for years too, just to kind of and different teams have had their different strengths. But for years it's like, man, why did Creighton just always get shooters and then they find and then they kind of add some athleticism and this and that here. Nebraska's going to have a team that can shoot, and that's going to be exciting. Moving forward. Real quick, while I mentioned Creighton, though, by the way, Jeff Goodman reporting High Point head coach Alan Huss is returning to Creighton. He was a coach there and played there. The reason why is Greg McDermott is 60-year-old and will likely be retiring in the next 2 seasons. And so now Huss is now going to be named the coach in waiting. And for good reason. He's 46 years old, was 56-15 in 2 years at High Point in the Big South there and led them to their first NCAA tournament appearance. So looks like Greg McDermott. I know people don't love Creighton, but what he's done there has been incredible. And they've already got their replacement lined up.
So this is his last year. That's what that means. One more year?
They haven't said anything formally. It's just sources, according to Jeff Goodman, are saying he's probably going to be retiring in the next two years. And if you're making a move to get a head coach in waiting, then it probably, you would assume so.
Hey, man, I can respect quality. That is... To say he's a quality basketball coach is actually like not even stating it properly. Like that is a really good basketball coach. So I got nothing but respect for Coach McDermott. It doesn't sound like he's done. We don't know officially just yet. I wish them the best of luck in almost every game that they play next season. But yeah, I got nothing but respect for Coach McDermott, just like Coach Booth. All right, no longer Creighton's volleyball coach anymore. In fact, we're going to have the new Creighton volleyball coach, Brian Rosen, join us tomorrow here live on the ticket at 12:30. So tune in for that interview. No, that's some interesting news. And, I find myself more and more paying attention to Creighton, partially because I want to make sure we're better than them, but partially because I can respect good quality coaching and teams. And then I hope we beat them when we play them. All right. And if you look at the roster this year compared to last year for Nebraska basketball, comparatively speaking, statistically speaking, the players on the team actually averaged 9 more points a game combined. So think about, I don't know what we average points per game this year. Let's say we average 65 points a game. That seems low, but that means we would average 74 points a game next year as an overall whole. That's 13% higher. 1.7, almost 2 more assists per game, which is actually up 14%. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that's an upgrade of 14%. All right. Actually, more fouls, more personal fouls. We'd be negative 2.2 in the personal foul department. So we're going downwards 13%. I can live with that as long as we're more aggressive, and they're not stupid fouls too. And you might not be shocked by this. 5 plus 5 when it comes to more 3-point field goals per game, which is an increase in 83%. Field goals made, 3-point field goals made, an increase in 83%. When you hear those things, what do you think? Because what I think is, I think we have a legit chance to be better. You know what we have to do to be better? Not all we have to do, like I've got it, so simple. Consistent. We showed our ceiling, to a degree at least. If we just find more consistency, we'll be better. But I think of 2 things. We can be better, and we're going to be exciting to watch the way we can shoot. Not like NBA raining threes from all over the place, but like, hey, we're open. Bam, let's drain that bucket. We can score points. We can shoot. Fun to watch. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think if you go back to, and this is an old head type of thought, because the Golden State Warriors blew this out of the water, and we've seen this transformation into what the modern college basketball game was, but it still holds true, and we see this in NBA games night in and night out, is that, if you develop, I mean, it's great to be able a good 3-point shooting team, but is that consistent? And that's why teams were hesitant to say, yeah, those jump shooting teams, they're never going to win titles. Yep. I mean, it's good, but they're not going to, night in, night out, that can't consistently happen. So I think with a team that's going to be relying heavily on shooting, because I mean, just to be quite frank, we'll see what happens. I don't know who their lockdown defender is. I don't know if this is necessarily, we saw a couple of years ago when they went to Texas A&M and go, whoa, those guys are athletic. We don't have guys like that. I don't think this roster necessarily is going to wow you athletically. So there's going to be some matchups. They're going to have to hit their threes. And I think there's going to be some games where they blow people out of the water and shoot 50% from beyond the arc. And then I think there's going to be some games where when they struggle shooting, they're probably going to fall behind quite a bit in a few games too. So we'll have to see. And hopefully, again, if you're going to build your team around shooting, the shooting gets hot at the right time.
Dude, that is such a well-rounded answer.
Thank you.
It really is. Don't forget to leave out rink mass. Like, we have a presence down low now that we didn't have last year. And that was a big issue. It's a big issue on defense. I can go to the hole if I'm the opposing team with no fear of somebody blocking my shot, with all due respect to our bigs from this year. Also, we have an inside presence when it comes to, hey, guess what? You're gonna press us when we're on the 3-point line. Bam, down low to rink. Oh, now you're gonna have your help side defense roll over and double team him. Boom, hit the guy on the opposite side of the perimeter. We're gonna knock it in. Like, it creates a great balance. We got a down low presence. You can't cover everything. And unless we're just ice cold, something's going to be open. The question is, can we consistently make the shot? Okay. Also, rebounding. Nebraska basketball rebounded okay this year, but that's like, it's going to be when you can spread the court and you can spread the defense. Okay. It's going to create open shots for rink down low, open shots for our new shooters out wide, but also just getting more opportunities to shoot, because we're going to win more rebounding battles is huge. You made great points about athleticism versus other teams. How do we match up defensively? Basically, we're going to be fun to watch because we're going to give up some points and we're going to score some points. That's basically what it's going to be. And think about this, Husker Nation. If you're like, oh my God, you win championships with defense. Yes, you do. Okay. But all you got to do is score one more point than the other team. That's all I'm saying. My dad told me that one time when I was a kid going into like a 12U championship baseball game when I was going to pitch. Adam, all you got to do is score one more run than the other team. That's always stuck with me. Now, whether we do it or not, we'll see what happens. It's going to be fun to watch in the process. And did Golden State ruin the NBA? Is that what I heard you say? Did they ruin the NBA?
If that's how you view it, then yes, they did.
That's not how I view it. It's how you said it. Don't put it back on me.
Well, it's the I would say it's a prevalent thought among fans that aren't big NBA fans, is that they used to like the product better when it was. Now you just see a lot of guys going down. It's a lot of jacking up threes.
Dude, when I grew up, in order to be successful, you had to have a big. You think of Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing. You think of Tim Duncan, David Robinson. You think of all these guys. The Warriors came along and said, now we got the greatest shooter that's ever going to walk the face of God's green earth named Steph Curry. We got another probably top 10 guy in Klay Thompson. Okay, and we're just going to make all these shots. We're going to spread you out. By the way, Steph's going to shoot from like the opposing free throw line and still make it like 99% of the time, which is just insane. And I think other people started looking at that like, hey, that's how we can win too. But not everybody can be built like that, because there's only so many of those guys that are ever going to walk God's green earth in history, named Steph Curry and Klay Thompson as well. All right, I know we got to go to break. One person commented, because Will Cooper is from Omaha, and I've talked about the 2 of the 5 first-team All-ACC players were from Nebraska in basketball this past year. Eron Park said, it's almost like the best 5 high school kids in Nebraska would make a winning team. We should try that sometime. What are your thoughts on that there, Jake?
Well, it certainly is more so the case the last couple of years than maybe traditionally. But it is interesting. It's certainly interesting to see Will Cooper. We've already seen this again with Sam Griesel. Guys that are from Lincoln or from Nebraska come back. Certainly Josiah Alec in that category. Now you've got Will Cooper. So the other thing that Austin brought to my attention too is, while we get excited about all these, the transfer portal, and that's all it was. Everybody's getting excited about the transfer portal. Is it would be nice to have some guys that develop now. I know that's an old school thought, but Austin pointed out to me the other day, as far as freshmen, the freshman class that Hoiberg's had since he's been here, none of them has really panned out. Maybe Bryce McGowan's, but that was 1 year.
Yep.
So that's what his whole resume was built on at Iowa State too, was through the transfer portal.
Developing players is now an old school thought. That is crazy to me, but it's also a true statement. That's nuts to me.